OTC, we're getting back in the groove. Getting back in the groove.
Yes, sir.
We've locked one in last week, and then now here we are again, and we're right here coming up on the NFL draft.
Crazy.
Cu- Cubs been on fire.
Yes, sir.
The Bulls finally did something that makes both me and you happy.
Bro,
Uh, Saying goodbye to Acme.
get him out.
AK's gone. Mark Eversley's gone. You
Broke
know,
my finger.
Bro, I was thinking about this. When AK and Eversley were hired was COVID. That
Hmm.
was 2020.
That's so crazy.
And the Reinsdorfs did not meet them in person.
Really?
They did everything by Zoom. They made that hire by Zoom. They had not met him in person, so they didn't really have a good vibe, but really like who he was, kind of the plan. And so, I know the last pod we were talking about, our disgust with Acme and needing changes and the draft coming up and tanking and this, that, and the other. And the good news is now we got, two first round picks. We don't know what the lottery one, if we're gonna be able to hit the
Man,
lottery and depends how them bouncing balls treat us. But um you know now word breaks first thing this morning. By the time we drop this, it's going to be a day or two later, but word hits that Billy Donovan is stepping down as the head coach of the Bulls after Michael Reinsdorf said, while their search for president of basketball operations and general manager, they wanted to hire somebody that is going to be okay with Billy being around because he's a Hall of Famer. And if they're not okay with it, then they
they're
don't
not
need
the
the
right fit.
job and they're not the right fit for the job.
Yeah.
And I think that Billy D did a solid. I think he was like, you know what? I want what's best for the Chicago Bulls as an organization. And I think if we've got the ownership telling the potential next heir apparent to AK and Mark Eversley, like, hey, you got to keep me. I think he's like, I don't want to be forced to be kept. Like, I
Right.
don't want somebody to be forced to keep me around. And he's probably tired of the shenanigans too. And Billy Donovan's a great coach. I don't think he was ever given a fair chance to win in Chicago. I just don't. But we can obviously hit that. We've got the NFL draft around the corner. What do we do at 25? Do we trade out? Do we trade up?
It's
I'll
just
be honest. With this draft, Charles, how many guys are really worth trading up for when next
man.
year,
Yeah.
I think next year's draft's going to be loaded. I think this year's draft is like loaded in certain positions,
Yeah.
but how many guys are like, oh, I'm willing to sacrifice next year's first to move up for? How many?
So here's my take on it, right? Like you said, we're sitting at 25. I feel like we kind of missed out on a couple of opportunities to get like an impact player via trade, right?
Okay. Right.
I know, like me and you had kind of text back and forth when we saw DeMarcus Lawrence requested a trade. Cincinnati gave up the number 10 pick. We weren't. I mean, you got as the Giants, you got to take that. You got to take the 10th
Hmm.
overall pick. But I was hoping that the Bears would have been like, hey, here's a first and maybe one of our seconds this year to get us an impact player like that, right? And then, but I mean, even with the Crosby situation, me and you both were all in on getting Crosby to come to Chicago. I think being at that 25, it's kind of like teams are kind of like, it's basically a second round pick. Who's sitting at 25 right now that we're like, yo, this dude is going to come in and he can change our team. When I look at just kind of like the mocks and everything, they've got Mesidor kind of falling in like the 20 to 30 range. I think I saw one that said T.J. Parker from Clemson would fall to the Bears. You got Caden McDonald from Ohio State in that same range. A guy that you really like, and Emmanuel McNeil Warren,
Hmm.
safety from Toledo. He's going to be there according to this mock. I mean, these are all solid guys. I just don't know if it's like game changer, high impact. That's my only thing. I'm like, I would love to have, like we've talked about, that other defensive end. I would love to have that pass rush on the other side. But who is going to be that guy at 25 that we can get? I feel like at the top of the board, you've got crazy, crazy talent, right? Ruben Bain, I know he's going through some stuff right now.
This is the season, though. This is the time right before the draft, before you're going to see a whole bunch of stuff,
Exactly.
and everybody knows what it is, and this is what I'm going to tell you, just from my time around NFL personnel. They know.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that's coming out that they don't already know.
Right.
I love the movie Draft Day,
Well, I
and
love
I
that movie.
always watch it the night before the draft every year. No matter if I'm at the draft the night before and I'm in my hotel, I'm watching it. If I'm at home, just depending on scheduling conflicts and things that I have. Um, but I'm going to tell you that there are going to be teams that if they identify guys there and they know things about them, it's going to get leaked out because they're hoping for the dramatic fall,
Mm-hmm.
to where they are so they don't have to give up draft capital to move up and get them. I'm going to say this, Ruben Bain, I have said all along, and I will likely get proven wrong on this, and I'm okay with it. I like Mesidor at the next level better. I do. I like him better than Bain. Nothing against Ruben Bain. I just know when I watched Miami this year, Mesidor was always like jumping off the page for me. And it wasn't that Ruben wasn't playing well. He was. I just kept looking at Akeem Mesidor. Now he's 25 years old, and he was a man amongst boys, literally.
Yeah.
He was going against 18, 19, 20, 21 year olds and dominating them in a lot of ways. And now when you get to the next level at the NFL, you're not going to be able to have your way with other grown men as easily. Now that's not to say he won't translate. I think
Right.
he will. For me, bro, like I think there is very few players in this particular 2026 draft that I'm like trade up for, because I think when if you're throwing out first round grades with this crop of players, it's going to be 15 or less,
Yeah.
and there's 32 picks
Yep.
in the first round. So guys that are going to be going in the back half of this draft in other years would not be first round picks.
Right.
It's just this particular class, by all accounts, is down versus other years versus next year. Next year is going to be loaded. We may see 5, 6 quarterbacks go in the first round next year. You
Crazy.
know, um, you look at Jeremiah Love. Like Jeremiah Love might be the best player in this draft, at running back. But again, we're talking about a league that still doesn't really put
Value.
great value on running
Mm-hmm.
backs. And his counterpart in the backfield in Notre Dame is Jadarian Price. He's probably the next best running back, and most people see him at the bottom third to maybe top of the second as a draft choice. Now, for me, there are certain players that by no means I don't want to see the Bears trade up to the top 10 because that cost is way too high. And
Crazy.
I think next year you want to go in with a full gaggle of picks 1 through 7, even acquire more if you can, because that class appears to be loaded.
Right.
And so, yes, it's a win now mentality, but it's not a win now by being stupid mentality, in my opinion. I think about it 25, like Charles, if we stay put, or if we had to move up like 3 or 4 spots, where you look at those draft slots and that that compensation is maybe giving up one of those seconds that we have
Yeah.
to go get one of those guys that are like, okay, these guys have first round grades for whatever reason. They're still there at 21, 22, 20, whatever. Dylan Thieneman would be one of those guys for me. If you're sitting there at 25 and 20's coming around, 21's coming around,
He's still
and
on the board.
nobody, I would jump all over that because I think he's one of the best players in the draft. That's just my opinion. I am a huge fan of him. Um, I think at 25, if you can get Thieneman to fall or move up slightly to get him, if you can get Akeem Mesidor at 25, I would be okay with Caden Proctor at 25. I am a little concerned with
Yeah,
um, his weight issues, and will it translate? But we need a left tackle. There's no doubt about it. And with the way left tackles get paid, it's very hard to get one of those in free agency
yeah.
because typically, if they're really good, they don't go anywhere, and the teams keep them because you must have that left tackle. And so, Caden Proctor, Monroe Freeling, um, Lomu, you know, I would be okay with offensive tackle at 25. I would. Matter of fact, I think that the edge class is deeper than the tackle class. So again, if you're sitting there and one of those tackles is sitting there eyeballing you, you need it. You got to protect your investment. That's Caleb Williams. McNeil Warren, EMW, I like him a lot. There are some guys that I think you sit there. If you can trade back even later in the first, I would like to stay in the first so that you have that 5th year of control over whoever your first round pick is going to be. But
Yeah,
if there's somebody sitting there that say they need that quarterback,
yeah.
you
Ty
know,
Simpson. Yeah, 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 yeah,
that Ty Simpson,
yeah.
if they need, by all accounts, some teams have him higher than Mendoza,
Which is
you
crazy.
know,
That is so
and
crazy.
but something else that I want to kind of put on the radar is the cornerback position. We need another corner. I
Yeah,
mean, you think about who we've let walk.
but do you take one in the first round? Because I feel like we've kind of talked. The quarterback room, the cornerback class is a lot deeper this year too. And I'm gonna say
Hmm.
this: I'm down for Thiemann to be a Bear, but
Hmm.
this mock has him going top 15.
I
They
know.
got it. They got him going to Dallas. So if he falls, that means something is like completely wrong with dude, or the Bears found a way to.
Or it's just the board played itself that way.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I don't fall in love with it too much either way. I think this draft could be a little wild because of
I
the uncertainty with so many of these guys. And for whatever reason, people discount the safety position. Like,
yeah.
you can get a safety second, third, fourth round, and they could become a perennial All Pro, a Pro Bowler, a Hall of Famer. You can definitely address it, but I think Dylan Thieneman is there. Caleb Downs,
Which is crazy
and
because they got Downs going at 10 for
mhm.
the Giants. And
But a lot of people think he might be the best player in the
I
draft.
was just about to say, I'm one of those people. I've as a
I
Buckeye
think he's a
fan,
top five pick.
I've been watching dude for the past 2 years, and then his
Mhm.
freshman year at Alabama, and he balled out, and he was
Mhm.
everywhere. He
Let me
can,
ask you this: how about a guy like Jermod McCoy from Tennessee? He's a guy that most people had as a top five, top 10 pick, but he had injury concerns.
yeah,
Well, at his pro day, he performed.
yeah,
And he's a dude that a lot of people feel like he's a top half of the first round guy that a lot of people think are going to slip because of the medical concerns. But if he's healthy, the talent is there. And so you've got somebody like him sitting there at that corner position as well. And so I am going to stick with the best player available mentality. That's the way I always am,
yeah.
regardless of position. I would say this, that if you get down to the bottom to that 25, and the edges that you had top three, top five on your board are gone, don't reach for an edge just because it's a position of need. If you have an offensive tackle sitting you right in the face and they're the best player on your board, or if Dylan Thieneman falls for whatever reason he's there, or Emmanuel McNeil Warren is sitting there, if for some crazy reason Dermot McCoy does fall to you and you believe in him and you have him on the list, rock with him. Because again, corner position, you're going to get paid.
Yeah,
Like you got to start looking at these positions and how much they cost you in the open market when they're really good.
right.
Corner position's one of those. Left tackle is one of those. Edge rusher is one of those that gets paid really well. You know what I
Really
mean?
well.
You look at positions that are not, running backs are not. They're not paid like they used to get paid. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Some safeties are not paid that way. They're not paid that way. And so by that math, you could say, to me, if Dylan Thieneman's sitting there and we passed on him, I will lose my ever loving mind because we don't have another safety.
We don't.
See, that's the other thing is when you look at needs for this Bears team, yes, you need another rusher, but I think people are sleeping on Booker. Like, I think people are sleeping on him. I
Okay.
think that dude, you give him the reps, I think he's going to be really good. I think we have defensive tackles. I think we have defensive interior guys there that we're ready to rock with if need be. So I don't like the idea of taking an interior defensive lineman with the 25th pick, especially with this class. I'm not a huge fan of Peter Woods. I'm not a huge fan of McDonald. I'm not at that spot. I think we have far more pressing needs. I would rather go if there's an edge that falls, they were like, hell yes. If Akeem Mesidor is there, take him because we're in win now mode and he's older. So he's probably going to be more mature, more developed than somebody you're going to get at 21. You know, at 21 years of age, 22 years of age, he's a 25-year-old man. So I love Mesidor there. I love Thieneman there. Caden Proctor, Lomu, Monroe Freeling if he's still there. Um, guys like that, Jermon McCoy, if he falls, he's going to be a steal for somebody at the end of the first. He's going to be steal. Like he's going to be a day one starter at corner. Guys like that for me, Charles, that's kind of where I'm at. And if you get there at 25, bro, and it's like, man, our best player available is this, but I still think we can get him at 31, 32, 29, and somebody's wanting to creep up on you, then cool, because you stayed in the first and you get that fifth year of control. But I think this board's going to be wild. Personally, I think guys are going to fall that you didn't think, and it's just going to be because teams value these guys differently.
So the mock that I'm looking at right now is from Jordan Reed of ESPN, and
Yep,
at
I've seen that.
25, he's got the Bears taking T.J. Parker from Clemson. Um, I think we've kind of talked about him before. Just not, we both weren't the biggest fans of his.
Well, I mean, the fall off from his freshman
Yeah,
year, like that scares me.
right.
Like typically guys are getting better, and is it did they misuse him? They kind of moved him around and
He played a lot of.
I
He played some inside too, if I
mhm.
remember. Yeah,
and I met with the young man in Indy, talked to him, great young man. Um but I guess where my question comes in, Charles, is if you've got another guy there that you're like, that's the dude,
yeah.
why would you not take that guy? Now if TJ Parker is that's the dude, okay, rock with him. I think a lot of people are basing it on his ceiling.
Yeah.
Like for me, and we've talked about this, like Hildrick Falk, to me, a lot of people are high on him. I'm personally not. I am personally not high on him. I think he's a developmental guy. I don't think he's a first round edge. Again, I could be totally wrong, and I'm completely fine with that. I told you, my time with Keyron Crawford here at Arkansas State, I like Keyron better, and I think we can get him with one of the two picks in the second round.
Yeah.
And I would love that. I would love that move,
That'd
not
be
just
so
because I
fire.
know him, but when you watch Kieran and you watch Keldrick,
Yeah.
Kieran's making as many plays or more than Keldrick is. And like I know his physical makeup. I know how he plays. And I would love to get him with one of the picks in the second round. So maybe you address safety or corner or offensive tackle with that 25th pick. And then with the two picks in the second, you go edge, or you go edge tackle, edge safety, whichever one you didn't address with that 25th pick, maybe you do that. And I know obviously we both probably believe, and a lot of people are believing that the Bears inevitably are going to draft a receiver
Yeah.
as well. But Charles, I'll ask you this. I'll defer to you. If you're sitting there at 25 and your best available player at 25 is a receiver, do you do it?
I don't think you make that move at 25 to get a receiver.
If it's the best player on your board,
I
do you skip? Do you change your philosophy just because your best player is that receiver? Because I
because
mean, you look at what we did with Burden in the second round. Everybody knew he was a first round talent, and you're hoping that Rome stays healthy and turns the corner. Luther's good, Colston's good. Obviously, losing DJ, while his production wasn't what it has been,
yeah.
that's a big hole.
I
That's
mean,
a and does Jade is Jade the guy? We don't know. But what if you have a receiver that is somebody you had in your top 15, and for whatever reason, because of all the defensive players, the offensive linemen, whatever, one of these guys falls to you, and you're like, there's no way we can pass this guy. Knowing Ben's an offensive mind, do you do it?
So, just looking at how this, I'm just basing off of the mock draft, right? Just looking at the mock draft, they've got Omar Cooper Jr. from Indiana going at 19, Concepcion going at 21. That's not even talking about like at the top of the board with like Carnell Tate, Tyson, all those guys up there. At 25, man, there's no really like wide receivers jumping off the page like they're up here. You got Denzel Boston from
But what
Washington.
if one of those top five fall to
Now
25?
listen, okay, if one of the top 5 fall, that's a tough call, man. I think you really got to sit down and you got to be like, okay, do we get another weapon for Caleb, or do we go with need, right? Because I feel like you could get a wide receiver later. I feel like
Hmm.
it's a decent wide receiver class. I feel they're all fast, and we've talked about the kid from Missouri, the other kid from Missouri. His name is slipping. You talked to him at the combine. I liked
Oh,
him.
yeah, and so he didn't run great. You're talking about Kevin Coleman Jr. Yeah, he didn't run real well, but I really liked him. Like I like the way he carried himself. You watch him on
I
film,
was about to say I
you
went back and
know.
watched this film, and I was like, I mean,
Yeah,
he can go. I mean,
he can, and he's got that tie to Luther. They know each other anyway. Um, but I'm just throwing it out that if one of those top 5 or 6 dudes fall, like a lot of people are really high on KC Concepcion, and a lot of people are bragging about this guy. But I just think about Ben and the way he likes to spread the football around, and losing DJ. I think we're gonna realize, everything that DJ did, once he's gone, but it was a necessary move, and it worked out great for both parties because now he's with Josh Allen and he's in a good place. They didn't
yeah,
cast him off to the Raiders to
right.
be part of a rebuild and
He'll be
all of
option
that.
one for Josh Allen out there. You know what I
A
mean?
100%, 100%. And so, but I just take it back to that is it wouldn't be my first choice,
Yeah,
but if one of those guys were to slip because of the way the draft played out, I mean, and you're looking at him, and that's the best guy on your board, and you feel like anybody else that you pick is a reach.
yeah.
I don't
Man,
think any of us expected Loveland last year.
no,
Like when
no.
that pick was made, I was like,
Yeah,
"What are
yeah.
we doing?
And you already know
What
how I
we
felt
have
about
we
it.
have Cole Kmet. Like, what are we doing? Like,
Right.
you can't tell me that is our biggest need right now." But now in hindsight, we got to eat crow, bro. He was
He's
our leading receiver.
option one.
He
You know
was
what I mean?
option one. Rome couldn't stay healthy, couldn't hang on to the football. DJ, had a drop off in production. Luther took a long time to get going, but he did show you what his ability is when he touches the football. But at the end of the day, Caleb was most comfortable with Colston Loveland, and in hindsight, we look back and we're like, yeah, we was wrong.
Yeah,
We were wrong.
I'll admit that. Here's a receiver I really like, man, and you were in Indy with them, Jacoby Lane from USC.
Love him,
They got
love
him
him.
mocked to go in the 4th round.
Yeah, I don't think he
I
makes
don't
it
think
that
he's gonna go
long.
4th round, but that's what I'm saying.
I,
There's like you put him on one side, and I think we talked about this in the last spot.
we
You
did.
put him on one side, put Rome on the other, and you got Burton in the slot.
Mhm.
I think that's a really good group of receivers right there. And then you still got
Yeah,
the
and
two
if
tight
if
ends.
you get him in the third, bro, like if you get him in the third,
The
how could you be mad about that? So ideally, let me ask you this, Charles. If we're talking about if we're looking at the first round, the two picks in the second, and our third round pick, if you could pick that how you want it. So 25, and I'm looking here so I don't say nothing wrong. The 25th pick of the first, 25th pick of the second, the 28th pick of the second, and the 25th pick of the third. Okay, so when you start mathing that up and you see that you've got 3 picks inside the top 103, you've got 4 picks in the top 103 picks. I think I said three. But if you could say position, how would that go for you? That are addressed with those top four picks. Say we don't trade at all. Say we don't trade at all. You know,
Like for you're talking draft for need or just what where I would go.
how would you go? How would you go if with those four picks? Because again, we're talking about the top 103 picks. We've got four of them.
Okay. Probably safety first. Um, Probably a rush like a DN, somebody on the
Okay,
front, like
edge.
D line,
Okay,
like an edge.
okay.
Um, oh man, offensive line. I mean, interior tackle, something like that. Um, and then best available. I'm not against picking a wide receiver at 4 in the 4th round or somewhere in the
Well,
top
this is
100
the third. I
or
mean,
the
bro,
third or the
because
third.
we've
Yeah,
got 2 seconds and a third. We
because
have the
right
29th pick of the fourth round. I mean, we've got, when you look at it, you've got those four picks in the top 3 rounds, and then you got a fourth round pick, and you don't have any more picks until round 7. So you have no pick in the fifth, no pick in the sixth. And of course, Poles has always shown he's going to trade back and acquire more
I was
picks.
about to say I wouldn't be shocked if one of
But
those two is
if
getting
we were
moved.
going to do that, I would prefer for it to be the fourth that you traded back, and not your 2 seconds or your third. Like I
Knowing
unless
Foles, I was gonna say unless he gets a haul for that for one of those twos. Looking at this mock, man, they've got Trayton Stukes from Arizona
I
going
like I like Stooks. He's
at
long. He's big. He's
57.
about 6'4".
Okay,
He's big. I like him.
and then at 60, the pick we got from Buffalo, Grayson Halton, the defensive tackle from Oklahoma.
He looked good at the combine.
So I mean, so what is that? DN, safety, D tackle, with the first 3 picks, and I think let's see where the other one was. At 89, they got us taking Sam Heck, the center from Kansas State.
Yeah, Kansas State. He didn't allow any sacks.
I mean, which
Um,
which again, I like that pick because I know we just traded for oh boy
mhm,
Bradbury,
mhm.
but I don't know what his contract is. I'm not sure if he's a one and
I
done.
mean, you're gonna have to have an heir apparent to him. Like with the way his contract is set up,
And
you're gonna have to have a center of the future.
If Heck could play somewhere else too, that'd be great. But honestly, we've got two. I mean, well, no, we don't have two guards because I mean, no, we do. Thuney and
We do. We just,
Jackson. We lost Dahlman.
we lost Dolman, and then obviously don't have a left tackle, which
Yeah,
is the most important.
they got
So, like for me,
they
if
got
I
us
could
taking
pick my top,
Austin Barber from
Mhm.
Florida in the 4th. That's the other pick.
Yeah, for me, if I could, like center, I would like to address fourth round or later, because we do have a starter already. Yes, he's short term, but get you a center in the fourth round, fifth if you trade back, whatever, that you feel like that you could develop and have ready in a year, maybe even 2 years if need be. But like for me, I think we have to, with those top four picks, I think we have to have an edge, we have to have an offensive tackle, we have to have a safety, and I will even throw in, I think we have to have a corner,
Yeah,
you know, with those first four. The one that I would interchange with is that corner position would be maybe another wide receiver. I wouldn't be mad if we took a center, but I think we could take a center in the
later.
fourth round or later that is developmental. Typically, they're not going to be real high picks unless they're just like, oh gosh, this is a legendary,
Right.
a legendary talent. This is going to be a Hall of Famer, as we now see that those type centers are going for a bag now.
A
But
bag.
we don't need that. Like you don't need like you just need a collective group that aligns really well together. And when you've got Joe Tooney doing what he does, Darnell Wright's fifth year has already been picked up. You just think about you've got Bradbury at center. I mean, you start looking at your offensive line. The glaring weakness is left tackle because you
Yeah.
don't know what you're going to have
Right.
with the injury to Trapillo. Um, you know, I I would not be upset if we went offensive tackle at 25, especially if it's one of those guys, if it's Lomu, if it's Proctor. If Monroe Freeling somehow falls, if it's one of those three, lock them in. Lock them in. I'd rather lock in one of those guys than reach for an edge too early when you've got two more picks in the second round.
Right.
If the edges that you have high value on are gone, don't take an edge. Just don't take a TJ Parker if you don't think he's the guy. Don't
So
take Keldrick Falk if you don't think he's the guy. If you've got one of those tackles, it's not sexy to a lot of people,
no.
but it's all of a sudden sexy when
When
Caleb Williams is getting his block knocked off, and you're like, man, wish we had a left tackle, you know. And
so
then when you see, I mean, look at a guy like Trent Williams that
it's got
just signed for another bag, and he's old, but he's still playing at such a high level that they're not going to let him leave. I mean, the dude was saying, "Look, I'm not playing. I'm not playing until you pay me." And guess what they did? They paid him.
here,
Why do you think
here
they
you go.
paid him?
This is good.
Because they're not easy to find.
Yeah.
Great offensive tackles, especially on the left side, you don't go picking up off the street.
Facts. So let me ask you this. You're at 25. Mesidor falls. Proctor's sitting there. What do you do?
Mm, that's a good question. I
Or
think if I had to rank it in hierarchy of my favorite players in this draft, like Proctor, still, I have a lot of questions about him.
yeah,
You know, he came to Arkansas State on a visit before
I didn't
before he
know.
committed to Alabama. Yeah, and matter of fact, you
That's
can ask him. He ate at J Town's Grill. You
that's
know,
wild that he came
um,
to A State before going
he
to
did, and the reason is that his high school teammate at quarterback was here.
wow.
And so he came here, and it was, it was one of those things where they had a great relationship. And he did. He came to Arkansas State on a visit, and I think everybody knew at the time there was no chance in hell you were going to get him. And then it was kind of flip flop Alabama, Iowa, and all that drama that happened in IL wise. And but anyway, my fear with Proctor is his weight. You know, he does show to be athletic. I mean, hell, he's ran the football.
Yeah.
He's caught a football. You've seen those things from him. I'm probably still going to go Mesidor
Okay.
and then address offensive tackle in
And
the
second.
second round, just because I'm very high on Mesidor.
Okay.
I'm probably higher on Mesidor than most, and I may be wrong, but I'm very high on Akeem Mesidor. I do. I'm not taking anything away from his partner Ruben Bain. I just like Mesidor a lot, man. And I don't get caught up in the 25-year-old deal. You know,
Yeah.
oh, he's 25, he's old. Well, okay, if you get him in the first round, you've got him for 5 years. He's going to be 30. Maybe you get his best 5 years
Yep.
and then you let him walk at 30. Okay, what if we won a Super Bowl or two in that time?
We'll take that.
Okay, cool.
I'll take
You know
that.
what I'm saying? And so Mesidor is probably one of my, I mean, if I had to say my top five picks at 25 that I hope to fall, Dylan Thieneman would be number one. Mesidor would probably be number two for me. I
Okay.
would probably put Monroe Freeling at three. Um, I'm kind of A on Proctor and Lomu. I like them both. Um, Emmanuel McNeil Warren, I love too. Again, I'm just kind of laying out. If these guys are there, it's a no brainer for me. And if it does come up like what you just said, Charles, where you've got Mesidor and then you've got Proctor, it really is going to be up to Poles and Jeff King and
Ben.
Ben Johnson and the crew to go, well, this is who we have here. We know how much of a hole we
Yeah.
have at the edge position, but we also know how much of a hole we have at the offensive tackle. What if, now follow me here, what if somebody from the top of the second knocking on your door saying, hey, we'll give you, you know, we'll give you this second, we'll give you another, we'll give you a third, we'll give you, whatever it is that when you look at the draft calculator, it's there. And maybe you can end up with three picks in the second, you know?
It's like
You,
like the Cardinals going back up trying to get Ty or somebody like that.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
cool with I'm cool with that because again,
it,
the more picks that we get
mhm.
back,
You would have to address it. Hopefully we're finding somebody that maybe it's somebody at the bottom. Somebody that's sitting there that can give you a couple picks. That makes sense. I'm just like looking. I'm looking at the end of the first. We're at 25. But you see, the Bills don't need a quarterback. San Fran don't need a quarterback. Houston don't need a quarterback because they're picking up Stroud. Kansas City don't need a quarterback. But the Dolphins do,
Yeah. Well,
technically,
technically,
technically.
I mean, they
But
just
they did dole out a bunch of money to Malik Willis, and maybe they're comfortable with that.
so
And
which
which
mock
is
are you looking at?
I'm not looking at a mock. I'm just
Okay.
looking at who's drafting where.
So
You've got the Patriots. They're not going for a quarterback.
Seahawks are,
Seattle's not going for a quarterback. And so you'd have to start jumping into round number two. And
and
as
that's
you jumping
when
around,
and
you
that's
got
where
the
it gets
Jets.
interesting.
You got the Jets sitting there with the first pick, the 33rd overall pick, and let's see. They've got
Gino.
the 33rd, and then they've got the 44th. So what if they told you, hey, we'll give you the first pick of the second round, and we'll give you the 12th pick of the second round? You now all of a sudden have four second round picks
Oh, I'm about
instead
that.
of the 125. You pick up two twos instead of 1 1. And if you're sitting there at 25 and the BPA isn't jiving for you at 25, and you can drop to the very first pick of the second round and have the 10th pick, and then you go down and you have the 25th pick and you have the 28th pick, you now have four second round picks with this draft. That there's a lot of question marks with these guys, and there's not a ton of locked in guys after the say the top 15.
I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at
I
it.
wouldn't I wouldn't be mad at it if I could pick up two twos for that one.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Now, the downside, like we keep talking about, is you lose that fifth year of
your option.
control.
Yeah. But I mean, if that again, if that player, if there is a player that
But Charles, you know this. At the top of that second round, there's
somebody's
going to
gonna
be
fall,
guys there you're going, I can't believe they're still there.
Luther
Like
Burton,
I can't believe they're still there.
Luther Burton
Right.
last year. You know what I
And it
mean? So
happens every year, and it's a
yeah,
laundry list of guys. And so when you're the Bears and you have so many immediate needs to fill,
yeah.
do you want to reach at 25, or would you make that trade if you've got the Jets saying, we love Ty Simpson, we're going to get back in the second round? Would they come all the way to 25, especially when there's no other teams behind the Bears that really want a quarterback? But if they really identify him as the guy, and I think they have two picks in the first too.
The Jets,
Yes.
yes, I believe so.
And so, but if that's their guy, you don't want to take a chance of another one of these quarterback needy teams jumping in front of you either. And so I would say you definitely work the phones if you can acquire some extra picks with that 25th pick, especially if somebody's not, say, if you have your top five guys and they're not there. If Thienemann's gone, if Proctor's gone, if Mesidor's gone, if McNeil Warren is gone, Freeling's gone, like all these guys that I'm saying I would love to have at 25, if they're not there, hell no, I don't want to reach at 25 just to have the fifth year. We could have the fifth year of a sorry ass dude. And
So,
we're just going to drop. We're not going to pick up the option anyway.
so the Jets
And
have
so,
2-16. Okay,
right,
so they got
right.
two
And
and
they're
six.
they're not. I don't think they'll take Simpson with 16th pick.
No, no, no. I don't think
You
so. I think
know,
that's
and
you talk about a reach. I think that's a reach.
they may rock with Gino for one more year
And going
and know
next
they're going
year,
to suck ass, and then going to go in this quarterback heavy draft that everybody's going to look at and think that we have 6 to 7 first round guys
that's
next year.
insane.
They're probably going to do that, bro.
Yeah,
And so I don't know. Thursday can't get here soon enough. I think it's going to be must see TV. It's going to be really weird for the Bears not to be drafting in the first hour,
crazy.
um, because we're so used to that because we suck most of the time. Um,
So I'm gonna tell you this. I'm gonna be looking for your text message because your boy's gonna be good in sleep.
you're going to wake up. You're going to be like, oh my
Like
God,
so,
what did we do?
my new schedule now. I'm in bed at 7:00. That's when
Right.
everything starts.
That ball. Yeah.
So I'm a fast grandpa. I'm gonna get to work, and the first thing I do, I kid you not, first thing I do when I get to work, we got a TV over in our little section. I turn that on. I turn on ESPN. I'm like, all right, what did I miss last night? So I'm missing all the playoff games. Man,
Oh yeah.
it is tough out here. But
Hmm.
like I said, you gonna be there. So I'm gonna be looking for the text message like, hey, you won't believe this.
Yeah, no, like I'm excited about it. My schedule has been so hectic that I'm literally
Yeah,
like
yeah,
it may
yeah.
come down to the last minute for me to get to Pittsburgh as long as everything
Comes
can
together.
coincide because like I didn't expect a lot of things in my other professional life to be as wild as it is right now. And so I just got to make sure I take care of everything. I had some health things I had to take care of this week that wasn't really expected. And so, nonetheless, if I'm able, God willing, to make it to Pittsburgh, I'm gonna be there covering it, get all the interviews, all that. For some crazy reason, I can't make it. Then I can't make it. It is what it is. But I'll be locked in, and I'll be in front of a television and
So I'll be
tweeting
waiting,
away, and
be waiting for them
you
text
know,
messages, boy.
putting everything on the outside the shy socials as well. But yeah, my man. So, obviously I think we talked quite a bit about the draft. The Cubs had that terrible start, but now have won six in a row as of today being Tuesday.
Yeah.
I have to
Listen,
remember what
man,
day it is. When we
I'm
drop
with you.
this, it's a little different. But, I've won six in a row, swept the Mets, beat the Phillies again, playing much better baseball.
Yeah.
The defense has been phenomenal, which we knew. Defensively on paper, they look really, really good. The hitting is taking a while to come around. Ian Happ in a contract year is hitting bombs. He's hit the most home runs he's ever hit in his career up to this point. So he's on a hell of a pace right now. Lieutenant Dan just hit his fifth home run last night. So he's ahead of the curve right now. But you got guys struggling, PCA struggling pretty bad. He's batting just a little over 200. He's got one homer on the year. He's going to come around. I think he's pressing too much right now. Shout out Colin Ray, who has been invaluable as that spot starter with all the injuries right now that we have in the rotation. And so I feel good about where the Cubs are. They're, I think, a game and a half behind Cincinnati. I think we got a 3 or 4 way tie right now, for second right now. And, I feel good about where they are. I don't panic. Baseball is
It's
such a
still
marathon,
early.
162 games.
I'm like, they
It's
played
cold
22
out.
games. 22 games,
Yeah.
bro. You know what I
It's
mean?
it's so cold outside, and I just I'm not freaked out about it whatsoever.
I mean, we've had
I
a
feel good about that.
couple walk-offs that I've caught the highlights of, and my guy Nico out there, getting a couple hits, man.
He's got to be top three right now in MVP voting. If there was voting this early in the season,
He's
he would be there.
he's hitting 322 right now. I mean, 28 hits on the season, 21 RBIs. I mean, he's balling, man.
He's 100%, playing as the best second baseman in baseball right now. I mean, at the plate, in the field. I mean, he's a gold glover, period. On the defensive side of things, he's batting leadoff, which is exactly what we need. And so I love what I see from him. Of course, you and I are gonna keep a close eye on what's going on with the Bulls.
Oh
Who gets
man,
hired as team president, who gets hired as GM, who do they bring in as the head coach? I just hope for once that the Bulls do things in order. Like get your front office in place and let them
yes,
go get the head coach.
yes,
We don't you've got the draft combine, if you will, coming up, in the NBA next month, and you're going to want to have people in place by then. And so now that the regular season is over, playoffs are underway right now. You got to think that I know that they're getting, I know John Paxson's involved in the hiring process, search firm involved. Um, they just got to get this right.
and
Bob Myers sitting at the crib. There's word on the street is that Steve Kerr is not returning to the Golden State Warriors. A lot of people are talking about that with the Bulls.
so I
Bob
caught
Myers, Bob Myers, Steve Kerr reunited in Chicago, maybe.
so I saw the end of the Golden State game the other night where Kerr brought Draymond and Steph together, and they had their moment. And I'm sitting there listening to it.
Draymond's already said
It's
he don't think
over.
he's coming back.
Yeah.
He said
So
he's not coming back.
I'm looking at it. I'm like, it would be a great story to have the Chicago kid, the guy who hit a bucket in the finals, helped us get a championship, have him come back home and rebuild this squad.
But does he want to be a part of a rebuild?
And
Because
that's the scary part.
you think about it. So you had a bridge, right?
Yeah.
For the Golden State Warriors, you had Mark Jackson, and then he did some homophobic slurs and things that didn't go real well. And they made the move, and a lot of people were shocked. But clearly, you can't be that shocked considering he hasn't coached again. Nobody's beating down Mark
Nobody's
Jackson's door.
touched him, bro.
So then the baton, they go and they hire Steve Kerr, and everybody's like, "Whoa, Steve Kerr! Like, what's this?" 2 years later, they win an NBA championship, and so you don't really necessarily have a bridge coach with the Bulls. Billy has just been dealing with making chicken pot pie out of straight up chicken dookie. Like he's just trying to do whatever he can, right?
Right.
And so I don't blame Billy. I appreciate Billy for what he did. I feel like he was extremely um he was dealing with a poverty franchise. Let's just be honest. He wasn't given much to make a gourmet meal. You open up the cabinets and there's those bright ass yellow always save cans, and that's the Bulls roster.
Facts.
And
Facts.
so it's just not fair to him. And I don't think any less of Billy. Matter of fact, I respect him even more
For
for
sticking
saying, you know
around.
what, I'm out.
Yeah.
I did my 6 years. I think it's best for the Bulls and for me that I step aside and let them start this whole rebuild from the top down. Just
So
just clean slate.
I pulled up Sham's tweet, and it says the Bulls have talked to 6 candidates or asked for permission to talk to 6 candidates. GM from the Timberwolves, Matt Lloyd, Detroit's senior VP of operations, Dennis Lindsey, the Hawks basketball operations, Bryson Graham, Cleveland's GM, assistant GM, and Mike Ganzi, and San Antonio Spurs assistant GM Dave Talep.
Matt Lloyd was part of the Bulls franchise for like 17 years.
Really,
And so a lot of people feel like
he's the
one
guy.
of the he's one of the leaders in the clubhouse because of the relationship he already has with the Reinsdorf, knowing the franchise like he does, the city, etc. A lot of people feel like Matt Lloyd is probably one of the big favorites.
I also saw
I'm
what.
gonna tell you, I just would rather I want to do something unorthodox. Like I want to do something unbull like, you
Yeah,
know. I what let me ask you this, Charles. What did the Chicago Bears learn by doing the most unbear like off season last year? They went and paid for the top commodity in a head coach. They got Ben Johnson. What did that get us?
I mean the playoffs.
Yeah, it got us right.
I mean,
And had a phenomenal season in year one when nobody expected it.
right,
And the Bears now have everybody's attention. The Bears are actually getting respect from all across the NFL, right? Because they know Ben Johnson is the real deal. So why do we have to bargain basement shop as being a Chicago Bulls fan and as a Bulls organization when you typically lead the league in attendance? You're printing money, even with a shit product on the court. You're
right.
still doing this. Why not do something Reinsdorf like, Bull like, and go swing for the fences and give Bob Myers everything that he wants and give him full autonomy to do whatever he wants to do. Let him bring in his chief of staff, his GM that he wants. Let him go get his guy at head coach, and then just go trade whoever the hell you want, sign whoever the hell you want. Here's our 2 first-round draft choices that you're going to have at your disposal. Let's flip this thing around. Let's take, it might be a 2 or 3 year project, but he's done it. That was a franchise in Golden State that hadn't won in 40 years.
Right.
They hadn't won a championship. Well, guess what? Breaking news, mother lickers. 1998 was a long time ago.
Long time ago.
Was a long time ago.
Man, I still
That
had
was a
hair.
long Time ago.
and in
Hell, I was
school.
4 years out of high school. I'm almost 50.
I'll tell well, yeah, freshman in high school. Yeah,
Yeah, bro. Hey, I graduated in 1994. And I'm thinking like you could have won that seventh championship if the front office wasn't idiots. And now they have learned that, oh, maybe it's not that easy to win because we haven't been doing it in 30 years. I mean, seriously.
I think I 100% agree with you. They got to get the front office first, then go get the coaching staff, and then
Mhm.
let them build.
But don't settle.
Yeah, and that's
You're
what
the
I'm worried about.
Chicago freaking
And that's
Bulls.
what I'm worried about. They're going to settle for somebody that is like somebody's assistant or somebody that's just not ready to take that step. And
Bro, when you think about pop culture, right? When you think about pop culture, urban culture, when you see that Bulls logo, you will see that Bulls logo on the who's who of celebrities. Like everybody rocks with the Bulls. It should tell you all you need to know. The Bulls are one of the most underachieving, highly respected franchises that
right.
exist in the NBA.
Yeah,
Like you see people rocking that logo, that Bulls logo, hats, sweaters, hoodies, et cetera, et cetera. You see people rocking with it, man. Celebrities love the Bulls. And we ain't did shit
since
in
not
so long
and
that was legitimate.
and I've heard other names. The what was the Raptors? God, what's his name? Legiri. I heard
Hmm.
his name. I seen
His name's been talked about.
Mike
Hmm.
Dunleavy Jr. I've seen his name pop up. I
Which he
mean,
has ties to the Bulls
yeah.
too.
I mean, but I think you got to swing for the fences. You got to bring somebody in here who's got.
And I say turn over every freaking stone.
Yeah.
Like talk to all of them.
Listen,
And I want you to say, we talked to everybody. I know a lot of people talking about this guy, that guy, this guy.
but
This dude blew our damn mind.
yeah,
This dude blew our damn mind, had a plan. It's kind of like when you're starting a business or you've got a business and you need to go get a loan at the bank and you got to put together a business plan and you lay it out in front of them. And, those bank officers look at it and they're like, oh, oh,
man,
damn, this dude's got it together.
right.
I want the blueprint for success. I want whoever this is that's going to be in charge. I want the president of basketball operations to go, this is who I am. Here's my game plan. This is who I want to hire as my GM. This is how I see our blueprint to success as the Chicago Bulls starting right now. Here's how much cap space we have this offseason. We have these 2 first-round picks. We're not sure where we're going to be drafting with the first one yet. Yeah, I want it all, and I want them to go, wow, they blew me away. Like, this is the right dude. Don't settle. And if that dude is Bob Myers and it's going to cost you $12 million a year,
Open
15 million
up,
a year,
open up your wallet, write the check.
write the check. You selling $15 beers like it ain't nothing, right? Here you go. Whatever you need, we got you. This offseason, the free agent class isn't great, but next year is much better. Let's get a roster in here. Let's get some picks in this first round that we can actually see play,
Yeah,
develop,
yeah.
come stars. I mean,
That's
seriously,
not sitting in the G
stop
League.
stop reaching for somebody from overseas that averaged 2 points in Paris, playing for France. Like stop reaching for all these guys. Go get these dudes that are balling and that have proven film that are going to come in and fit your needs. Like
And
I'm just so tired of it. But we have a clean slate. Let's do it the right way.
and
Let's rebuild it the right way.
what if we end up in one of the top 5 picks, bro?
And it could happen.
Yo, that'd be insane.
And it could happen. At least we know this. The one guarantee I can give you, Charles, guess what? Acme ain't picking it. Can't be much worse.
Can't be much worse. Can't be much worse.
Acme ain't picking it.
I man, just make the right move, Mr. Reinsdorf. If you're watching this and you see this, man, just make the right move. Just get the right person in there that's gonna change this franchise around. That's gonna take us back to where the Chicago Bulls are supposed to be, which is at the top of the NBA. There's so many teams out there. I mean, you look at what the Spurs are doing. You're looking at what Detroit did. It's time for the Bulls to take that next step and get back to the top of the league, man.
Yeah. Well,
Listen, man,
I think we've covered quite a bit.
this might be the shortest pod we've done, bro. Listen,
Yeah,
come
no
on, man.
doubt. We was effective
It
though.
was effective. We got in there and we did what we're supposed to do.
Yeah, we actually had somewhat of a game plan. We were like, hey, let's keep it an hour
Yeah,
less.
yeah, yeah.
Let's hit these topics because there's so much we can talk
Man,
about.
so
And then
much.
of course, after this weekend, we're gonna have plenty to hit on next week. But bro, I'll be honest with you, man. I'm like, I like where the Bears are. I think that they're looking to fill out a roster and be a contender next season. Um, I think the Cubs came into the season as most people thinking the second best team in Major League Baseball in a lot of aspects behind the Dodgers, who are the reigning champs.
Right.
They're starting to play more like it. Still have injury concerns and some depth issues that I think they'll work through, and I do think that they'll be buyers at the deadline this year, like we've always begged them to actually be. I do think they will. I'm going to try to have some faith. Um, and then as far as the Bulls go, I'm just excited that there's change.
That's
Like
the biggest thing for us, man.
like it's not more of the same. It's not the vicious cycle. It's not, the same BS that we've been putting up with. So there's optimism.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's
I just hope that optimism doesn't turn real fast when we're like, why in the hell did they hire them?
and
What are we doing?
and that's I think that's the biggest question mark going into this offseason. It's just where's Reinsdorf's head at?
I will
Where's
give Michael
Paxton's head?
Reinsdorf credit, though. I will give him credit because I think most people did not believe he would do this.
And for him to pull the plug like that, man,
And
stand
he
up,
did it
man.
and I told you, I don't know, it's
That's
probably
the
two or
last
three
part.
podcasts
Hell, it's
ago.
probably been the past two pods, to be honest with you. We've been talking about
And
this
I
for a
told
minute.
you, that like, what if all those moves, matter of fact, it was right after the trade deadline that we talked about this. I said, what if all of these moves, we can go back and listen to it. What if all of those moves that AK did it at the trade deadline was Reinsdorf saying, you clean up your damn mess, and when this season's over, you get your ass out? I'm not so sure that wasn't the conversation. And that's kind of like a part of me was like, what if that's it? Like, I even talked about that. What if he's like, you clean up the damn mess you made and you're done here? We're going to bring somebody in and we want you, since you got us in this shit, you go and you clean this shit up. You get these people off the books, and I'm going to get somebody in here that knows what they're doing, and they're going to start from scratch. Now he couldn't clean everything because he couldn't get nobody to take Patrick Williams. So I mean, who is no sensible GM team president is going to take Patrick Williams off your hands? But did clear the deck quite a bit. Got a lot of expiring
They
contracts,
have a lot of
a lot
money.
of that, and so part of me was there thinking that, and I said it, but then the other part of my brain was like, do I really think that Michael Reinsdorf would do this? Is he really got the balls to do this? Does he have the smarts to do this? And so credit to Mr. Reinsdorf. I'll
My,
give you credit, bro.
my
You
boy
you
dropped
did
him on
you
the
did
table.
what needed to be done. Now, the only part that I really got pissed about was just basically trying to force the hand of whoever's the new team president and GM saying you got to keep Billy.
Yeah.
And again, kudos to Billy for going, nah,
Nah,
man,
I'm good.
I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Like I don't I'm not gonna make somebody have to keep me around because the owners are saying, well, you got to keep this guy. And so kudos to Billy for that too. But I will give kudos to Michael Reinsdorf for pulling the plug when a lot of people didn't believe it would.
I mean, it's a big next couple months for all the Chicago sports teams, man. Starting this week with the draft. Hopefully, you'll be able to make it out to Pittsburgh to check things out, man. And
I'll be
again,
good either way.
either way. I mean,
If I
hey,
can't
we're gonna
make the
have
trip,
we're gonna have the
it is what it
updates
is.
across all social media. Cubbies, hopefully they keep this win streak alive. And the Bulls, they do right by Bulls Nation. Please, Lord.
Uh,
Please, Lord. please, Lord. But
I'm gonna I'm gonna hit the double cross fingers into the prey, like all of them. Like we
Got all
need
the
it all.
got the toes crossed and everything.
Rainbow, like gold pot at the end of the rainbow, like we need all of rabbit foot in my pocket,
The
like
4-leaf clover.
every
Man.
bit of it. I'm gonna go outside while that shit's growing and see if I can find one.
Listen, man.
I need one anyway,
Boy,
just in life. I
come
need
on,
some
man.
good luck.
Come on, man. You know what I need? I need some sleep, bro. That's what I need. That's
Get you some sleep,
yes,
my
sir.
guy.
Yes, sir. But
And another OTC in the books. Love it. Y'all great people.
appreciate y'all
Yeah,
showing love.
Charles, tell them where they can find us.
Man, everywhere. You get at us on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe over there. Get at us wherever you listen to pods. You got us on Facebook, X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Instagrams, TikTok. We're everywhere that you guys are at. All you got to do is hit us up, man. All those links are down in the description. So make sure you guys go hit that follow button, all right? We out of here, man. Another good one, bro.
All right. Get some sleep, dog.
I'm going to try, bro. I'm going to try. You
All
too,
right,
bro.
Sleep? What's that? All right, we out.
Yes, sir.